They say the world can feel like a cage sometimes, a small, confining space that closes in when you least expect it. For me, that day it wasn't a metaphor. The world shrank to the size of an elevator car, humming along one moment and then, with a jolt, falling silent. The gentle ascent stopped. The soft, piped-in music died. I was alone, suspended somewhere between the 4th and 5th floors, in a box of polished steel and mirrors. At first, it was just an annoyance. A sigh, a press of the alarm button that yielded no response. But as the seconds stretched into minutes, the air grew thick and heavy. My own reflection stared back at me, a stranger with wide, panicked eyes. The calm I'd felt just moments before evaporated, replaced by a cold, creeping dread. The walls seemed to press inward, the silence amplifying the frantic beat of my own heart. I was trapped, utterly and completely isolated in a vertical shaft of concrete and steel. The panic began to crest, a wave threatening to pull me under. My breath hitched in my throat, each gasp a sharp, painful intake. I slid down the cool metal wall, my palms slick with sweat, my vision starting to blur at the edges. It was the kind of primal fear that strips away all logic, leaving only the raw, desperate need for escape. The enclosed space, once a simple convenience, became a tomb. My mind raced with irrational scenarios, the cable snapping, the air running out. I closed my eyes, trying to block out the distorted image of my own terror reflected a dozen times around me. It was in this moment of absolute despair, when I felt most alone, that something cut through the silence. "Hello? Is someone in there?" The voice was calm, muffled by the layers of steel and machinery, but clear. It was a man's voice, steady and reassuring. It wasn't a maintenance worker or a firefighter. It sounded like just a person. The suddenness of it startled me, jolting me out of my spiraling fear. I couldn't form words at first, only a choked sob. "Hey, it's okay," the voice continued, gentle and patient. "You're not alone. I'm right here. My name is Arthur." His voice was an anchor in the storm of my anxiety. It grounded me, pulling me back from the edge. Slowly, hesitantly, I found my own voice. We started to talk. I told him my name. He asked me about my day, not in a prying way, but with a genuine, disarming curiosity. I found myself telling this faceless stranger about the book I was reading, about my ridiculous cat, about the meeting I was now hopelessly late for. He, in turn, told me a funny story about his first attempt at baking bread, a disastrous but hilarious failure. With every exchange, the tightness in my chest eased. The crushing weight of isolation lifted, placed by an incredible sense of connection to this unseen person on the other side of the door. He wasn't just a voice, he was a presence, a lifeline. The fear was still there, a low hum in the background, but it no longer had control. After what felt like an eternity but was probably only 20 minutes, there was a loud clunk, and the lights flickered back on. The elevator gave a slight shudder, and then began its slow, groaning descent. My heart leaped, a mix of relief and a strange sort of disappointment that our conversation was ending. As the doors slid open with a soft chime, my eyes landed on him. He was just an ordinary man in a simple jacket holding a bag of groceries, a kind and concerned look on his face. Arthur, the man whose voice had been my sanctuary. We didn't say much. I managed a watery thank you, the words feeling entirely inadequate. For the profound sense of gratitude I felt, he just smiled, a small, understanding nod that said everything. There was no grand gesture, no dramatic exchange, just a quiet moment of shared humanity. He held the door for me, and I stepped out, back into the world, taking a deep, steadying breath of open air. As he walked away, I watched him go, a complete stranger who had unknowingly become a pivotal character in the story of my day. Sometimes hope finds you in the most unexpected of circumstances, a quiet voice that cuts through the noise of your own fear. That day, trapped in a metal box, I learned that connection isn't about proximity. It's about the simple, powerful act of reaching out. One person choosing to stop, to speak, to listen, can be the light that guides you out of the dark. and that is a moment I will carry with me forever.